Welcome to C++ programming. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the friend function. The friend function is a function that can modify private variables in a class. In the class, we need to specify that this function is a friend. And then inside the friend function, we can actually then modify some of the private variables in that class. So let's jump into the coding and see how we will define a friend function and how a friend function interacts with an object's private variables. So we will create a new empty file. We will save this file as friend function .c++ cpp, and we will start by including our standard input and output library iostream using name space std int main void return 0. Great, so let's build and run and see if our program compiled successfully and executed. Yes, so we can continue. So we will create again a class called student, and in this class we will have a public and a private section. And in the private we will have a string called name and an int called age. Then we will also create a constructor, student, and in this constructor I will say name is equal to nothing and the age is equal to 0. I will also create a display function, and the display function will display the name, the name, and in the line see out the age and the age. So we've got a student function, that's our constructor function. We've got a display function that will display the private variables to the user, and we've got private variables called string name and int age. So we will go and create a object called student1, and we will also go and call student1.display before we start with our friend function, just to check that everything works. Great, so we can see that the object was created and the name is now nothing and the age is 0, so everything works perfectly at this very moment. So we will now go and create a function that's a friend function. It's a friend to this class student. So I will zoom out a bit. Now the friend function will be a friend to this class, but we need to specify all the friends of this class. And how do we do this? First of all, we will say friend, and we can say void, and I'm going to create a friend function that will set the name. And this friend function parameters will be the following. It will say student ampersand. So the friend function will receive a student object, and it will also receive a string. So that's the friend function. Now we've specified that this student class has a friend function called setName. Then outside of the class we can go and write our friend function. So we can say void setName, and we will say student ampersand, and let's say s for the object, and string in. So there will be a student object and there will be a string. So string in, student s, and then inside this friend function I will say s dot. So we are receiving a object of type student, and then inside this object we will say s dot the name here, oops, it must be a capital letter, will be equal to the string that in. Okay, so what we will do now is we will call this friend function. So we will display the content, and then we will modify the private variables and then display again. So here we will call the friend function. So how do we do this? Quite simple. We will say set name. So we're calling this friend function, and in the parameters we will send the object student1, and we will also send a name, so Jane. So I'm sending to this friend function the object that I want to alter and the string that I want to add to the name. So let's build and run and see what happens. So first time around, the first display we display the name is nothing and the age is 0, and then the second time around is name is Jane and age is 0. And that's a friend function. A friend function are able to modify private variables of a class, of an object, because we have specified that this function is a friend to this class. And that's a friend function. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.